What's up, guys? It's Johnny NoSurf from LifeAfterInternet.com. This is the second official NoSurf podcast. Topic of today's podcast is when you cut back on the internet, what do you do with all your free time? Because you're going to have a lot of it. So, from my experience, there are three challenges you're going to go through in your NoSurf experience. When I cut back on the internet, this was 4 years ago now, three things I went through. The hardest thing about NoSurf is what to do with all the free time. The hardest thing about NoSurf is what to do with all the free time. That's the first one. The second challenge you're going to go through is, of course, the crippling loneliness, realizing that all the friends you've built up online are hundreds of miles away, and that you, in fact, don't have many friends in real life that you see on a day-to-day basis, and that's very depressing. And the third, moving forward, the third challenge you're going to go through with NoSurf is this one's temporary. So those first two problems stay with you for the rest of your life. The third challenge with NoSurf is the deep feeling of regret for all the years you wasted merely consuming content, staring at a screen, being a shell of a person, not really being engaged in the world, building yourself, building your wealth, building businesses, building a family, truly adding value to people around you. And instead, you're just some sort of weird Matrix zombie staring at a screen, wasting your precious time and life energy that you can never get back. So, with that being said, what do you do with all your free time? First and foremost, you got to be in the gym, whether it's boxing, bodybuilding, or BJJ. You got to be in the gym. You got to build mental toughness. You got to build a strong mind as well as a strong body. It's going to eat a lot of your time. So that's exactly what you need. Bodybuilding can keep you busy. For me personally, it's like 6 to 7 workouts a week, plus driving to the gym and back, taking a shower, cooking, planning, and eating 5 to 6 meals a day, plus little stuff every week like grocery shopping, extra laundry. Now, kind of hilariously, bodybuilding is inherently a lonely sport. If you could even call it a sport, it's more of a hobby because you do it by yourself. Yeah, you can have gym partners here and there, but ultimately you're doing it by yourself. So it's lonely. Chris from Good Looking Loser does a whole series on this. He calls it Plight of the Lonesome Bodybuilder. It's hilarious for anyone who's been there. And a little depressing, but it's funny. So aside from just bodybuilding, I actually have done some boxing on and off over the years. So like this winter, I was boxing all winter from December 2015 to April 2016. I haven't had any amateur fights because I always end up going back to bodybuilding. I hate being like when I do when I do boxing for a few months in a row, I start losing a lot of mass. I start looking skinny, and my diet changes, and I just don't like doing it for that long. So I haven't had any amateur fights, but my buddy has his third fight this Saturday. He's 2-0 right now, so he's going for his third win this Saturday. So that's the social aspect I'm talking about, where you want to be with other people. So I can root with him. I'm going to be with the coach. I'm going to bring some of my buddies from university, and it'll be a good time. We're going to be, not sitting at home on YouTube or on some stupid blog. Yes, even my blog is stupid. Don't sit at home and read my blog. Don't sit at home and listen to this podcast. Listen to it while you're driving to work, or me and my one buddy, actually, most of our podcast listening is while we're smoking cigars. Yeah, nicotine's bad for you, tobacco's bad for you, but nobody lives forever, right? Nobody lives forever. So I don't know. I smoke probably 2 cigars a week, 1 cigar a week. Depends on the week. That's a social thing. You go with a buddy, you just, I don't know, we smoke cigars just downtown or at the river or whatever. I used to smoke in my car a lot, but I'm getting kind of tired of vacuuming out my car and having it smell like fucking smoke all the time. But point is, you got to be out there doing stuff with other humans and not sitting in your. I'm gonna call it a shitty apartment. I don't care how nice. Maybe it's a really nice condo. I shouldn't judge, but don't sit by yourself because humans are social. right? Chimpanzees are social, humans are social, dogs are social. Lock up your dog for a few hours and then walk in the door. And what's your dog do? He goes nuts. He goes nuts, right? So imagine, right? Like, you're not supposed to spend a bunch of time cooped up by yourself. You're supposed to be out there talking to other people, having a good time. Humans are social. We're social creatures. So another thing that's been really good for me is church. I've been going to church again for about the past year and a half. You guys can shit on me all you want, leave comments or whatever, but it's been really good for me. It's a good social experience. Obviously, if you're Jewish, go to synagogue. If you're Muslim, go to mosque, because there's all sorts of social events during the week that are kind of tied in there. And it's a big community, right? It's a big family, and that's where you're gonna build really good connections. You're gonna build really good connections at like a boxing gym or a BJJ gym, where you're seeing people overcome things, right? They have to practice and practice, and then they'll be stuck on something, and then it'll finally click. It's kind of the same in the church. You stay in touch with everyone getting married and having kids and going on vacations and getting new jobs and all this type of stuff. So it's a big family. Probably what your brain should have, instead of Facebook updates, instead of seeing pictures of people on Facebook, it's a lot better to see them in person, right? Because we're kind of like, I don't use the word tribe. That's why I was using the word family. But you kind of want to know what's going on. You want to know what's going on with your neighbors. You want to know what's going on down the street, that type of stuff. You want to keep up with people, right? That's why some people like gossip so much. They really like gossip. Me, not so much, but you want to know what other people are up to, right? You want to kind of stay in the loop. So yeah, Thursday nights we do a Bible study Thursday nights, and then sometimes we go for Timmy's, like after that, or we'll do like a dinner thing before. And then Sundays, we do the whole Bible study in the morning service. And then we usually go for lunch. And then sometimes I go to Sunday night prayers. Sometimes I don't. But point is, 2 days a week, I already know where I'm going and most of who I'm going to see, if they show up or not. So that's pretty good for me. Might be something you want to check out, depending on whatever you were raised with. Probably stick with that. So yeah, boxing, bodybuilding, church for me, and then the other thing is like live events in your town, right? So if you're like a big music guy or girl, right? If you're or whatever you identify as, if you like music, go out to some open mics, hear some music, right? A lot of times it's cheap or it's free. Just leave a donation. I'm personally not a huge music guy. I haven't really gotten into that scene. It's a little too indie for me. But one thing I have gone into is stand-up comedy, which I love, and I've watched on TV since I was a kid. And to think that there is comedy happening in my city basically every night of the week, and I didn't find out until like the past year, is pretty silly. But that's what happens when you don't pursue it. So I knew someone else who took a comedy class at the community college, and then about a year later, I ended up taking it, and it was like 2 Sundays, a few hours or whatever. There was one guy with like 20 years of experience or 80s teaching the class, and you basically just learn how to write material. You practice a few times in front of the class so you get over your stage fright. Once you have 5 minutes, he brings you to his club. He gives you a really warm welcome, obviously, and warms up the crowd. You go, you do your 5 minutes, you have fun. It's a little terrifying at first. Did it 5 times, February and April 2016. It was fun. I met a lot of funny people in the class who didn't want to do it professionally. They just wanted to try it out. I didn't have the time to keep up with it, to keep staying out so late and then still having to wake up in the morning. It's kind of burning the candle at both ends, so I had to stop. But it was good, man. It was good, and I met a few guys who had like a few years of experience, like the guys who were actually hosting the open mics, the guys who were actually putting on shows. They have 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of experience. Those are funny guys, and they were good to meet. And there's a couple girls too, right? They were funny people. It was good to meet them. It's good to see him every once in a while. I still make it to the comedy club once a month or so to see a show. It's good. It's fun. Don't sit home in your shitty apartment. Go out and hear some comedy. I saw David Spade a couple months ago, and that was only like $40. I could have seen Bill Burr for 80, but I didn't want to spend $80. He's really funny, but I don't want to spend $80. But yeah, these local comedy shows are like 5, 10, 15. Some open mics are like free. It's like, yeah, leave a donation if you want to, whatever. So that's like a really, I mean, it's pretty cheap. And man, it's fun just to go out and meet people again, talk to people. So yeah, bodybuilding, boxing, church, or whatever that is for you, stand-up comedy. I mean, I'm giving you guys a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas. I don't know what your age range is particularly, but there's a lot of stuff out there you can do. I'm just telling you the stuff I'm into. Maybe you hate all that stuff. You know yourself better than I know you. I don't even know what your name is. So whatever you want to do, just go do it, right? A motto I don't know if I came up with it, but a motto I used to say a lot a few years ago was, life's an all-you-can-eat buffet, you know? Like, if you like something, put as much on your plate as you want. Go for as many plates as you want. If you don't like it, don't put it on your plate. Like, and, you know, whatever gets you off, go do that. So yeah, that's all the stuff I've been doing these past 4 years to try and meet people after cutting back on the internet. Well, the things that worked, where I actually did get some sense of community, some sense of long-lasting friendship, fellowship, that type of stuff. As far as what I'm working on right now, I'm obviously working on lifeafterinternet.com, working on this podcast, and it sounds like my creative project, and you know, it's just kind of for fun. Another thing I'm working on is actually with one of the comedians I met at that class. We're working on our own supplement right now, our own pre-workout supplement, because they're pretty easy to make. You just order a bunch of powder and pick the ratios, like how much you want of creatine, how much caffeine, right? How many milligrams. You weigh it and you mix it and you have pre-workout. It's really that simple. So yeah, we're working on our own pre-workout because why not, right? Like, you're only on this planet for so long. Like, yeah, most people get 50 years. My dad died at 54. So whatever he was putting off for retirement, obviously he never would have been able to do that. So that's a little poignant thing here at the end, just to get you motivated. Sometimes you don't get till 80, right? Sometimes you only get till 54. So whatever you're thinking about doing, you might not have time later, you know? So maybe you should start working on it now. If you've been checking up on NoFap and NoSurf for like, years now, and no one made a podcast, no one made any content for the community, maybe you should do it, right? If you spend $40 a month on some pre-workout, which is just a bunch of powders, why not order them individually and mix it up yourself? Like, do whatever you want. Life's short, and just do whatever you want. So I gave you guys a lot of suggestions that I've done. Maybe you're totally different. Maybe instead of boxing, you love Russian ballet. Maybe instead of stand-up comedy, you think it's dumb and you love jazz music. So you're going to go to jazz festivals. Whatever it is, just do you, man. Just do you, girl. I keep saying, man, I'm trying to break that habit, but I don't know. All right. This is Johnny NoSurf from lifeafterinternet.com. This was the second official NoSurf podcast about going out in brick and mortar land and getting off the internet.